Her name is Brittney Marie Jones, and she's Kelly's former production assistant. The under-the-radar relationship was revealed in Brandon's obituary posted online, calling Brittney, seen here on Facebook, his beautiful and loving partner in life and business.
Was Kelly Clarkson's ex, Brandon Blackstock, dating her former assistant before he died?
Brandon and I are hustling, definitely around the ranch, trying to make it happen. And I 100%, none of this would be happening without my partner in crime.
Kelly Clarkson's ex-husband, Brandon Blackstock's obituary revealed that he was in a loving relationship with his ex-wife's former assistant. The tribute reads, Brandon, along with his beautiful and loving partner in life and business, Brittney Marie Jones, started building a life, building companies, and working tirelessly to create Headwaters Livestock Auction.
The official cause of death for Kelly Clarkson's ex-husband, Brandon Blackstock, has been revealed. In initial reports regarding his death, it was revealed that Blackstock, who was previously married to the singer and daytime talk show host, died of cancer. On Monday, the coroner's office announced that Blackstock died of melanoma, a form of skin cancer that had been present for 3 years.
The tribute also revealing Brandon had moved back to Big Sky Country, saying he found a homestead and a love in Butte, Montana. Brittney reportedly worked for Kelly from 2016 to 2018, then for both Kelly and Brandon until 2020, when Kelly filed for divorce.
That's the headline popping up all over after Brandon's obituary surfaced online, noting he found a homestead in Montana alongside his beautiful and loving partner in life and business, Brittney Marie Jones. She's the managing director of Brandon's livestock auction company and has seemingly been misidentified as the American Idol winner's one-time assistant.
And what will live on as his legacy, the Valley View Rodeo in Bozeman, Montana. Blackstock died after a private battle with melanoma. According to Brittney Marie Jones's LinkedIn, she served as the original American Idol winner's assistant from 2016 to 2020.
The professional talent manager died August 7th at the age of 48. He reportedly died at home under hospice care surrounded by loved ones. His death was initially announced by Blackstock's management company Starstruck, which was founded by his father, in a statement posted to its Instagram account. Brandon bravely battled cancer for more than 3 years. He passed away peacefully and was surrounded by family. We thank you for your thoughts and prayers and ask everyone to respect the family's privacy during this very difficult time.
Despite the relationship, Kelly was there for Brandon during his private melanoma battle.
I am grateful to everyone who has been a part of this journey.
Back in March, she returned to her talk show after taking time off to support her cancer-stricken ex and delivered this emotional on-air message.
The news that's making everyone stop and reread the headlines isn't about Kelly Clarkson's canceled shows or even the tragic loss of her ex-husband, Brandon Blackstock. It's what was quietly written in his obituary, a single line that changes the whole story. It revealed that in his final years, Brandon's beautiful and loving partner wasn't a mystery woman from outside his circle. It was Brittney Marie Jones, Kelly's former assistant. The same person who once worked inside the Clarkson-Blackstock household was now described as his soulmate, both in life and in business, running ranch operations in Montana at his side. And when you piece together the timeline, from her move to Bozeman in June 2020, the very month Kelly filed for divorce, to their joint ownership of a $1.7 million estate and 2 livestock companies, the picture gets clearer. Now, as tributes pour in from family and friends, and her father calls Brandon the love of his daughter's life, the public is realizing this was no casual partnership. It was a chapter hidden in plain sight. When you line up the dates, it's hard not to notice the overlaps. Brittney Marie Jones wasn't just a passing figure in the Clarkson-Blackstock story, she had been part of their inner circle for years. She first worked as Kelly's assistant from 2016 to 2018, then transitioned to working directly for Brandon. That's already unusual in itself, but what happened next is where the speculation starts to gain traction. In June 2020, the very month Kelly Clarkson filed for divorce after nearly 7 years of marriage, Brittney left her life elsewhere and moved to Montana. Not just anywhere in Montana, but to Brandon's sprawling 4,800 square foot estate in Butte, the same ranch at the center of multiple legal battles during the divorce. It's a property that became infamous for the $12,500 a month payments Kelly was ordered to make to cover its expenses, even while fighting for ownership in court. From there, the partnership between Brandon and Brittney became more than personal. They co-founded Headwaters Livestock Auction and Valley View Rodeo.
Sure, I've lost alone a lot, and along the way we found comfort in one another.
Ventures that put Brandon deep into the cowboy lifestyle he had often talked about embracing. The two operated these businesses side by side, hosting events and building a community presence far removed from the Hollywood spotlight. And yet, during this entire time, their relationship stayed almost entirely out of the headlines. No flashy social media posts, no interviews hinting at their personal lives. The only real public acknowledgement came years later, after Brandon's passing, when his obituary named Brittney as his partner in life and business. This wasn't just a late-in-life romance. It was a complete shift in identity. Brandon, once known for managing big-name music careers and living in the celebrity fast lane, was now running rodeo events and cattle auctions in rural Montana with someone who had once been part of his ex-wife's trusted team. That's not the kind of change that happens overnight, and it's exactly why the timeline has people looking twice. Because if this chapter was being written in quiet over the last 5 years, what else was happening behind the scenes that no one outside that ranch gate ever saw? While the public saw Brandon Blackstock's name in divorce filings, court judgments, and tabloid updates, life inside that Montana ranch was unfolding in a completely different way. Away from the noise, Brandon and Brittney Marie Jones were building a self-contained world. The property itself wasn't just any home. It was a $1.7 million estate set on acres of open land.
Now Brandon's stepmother, country legend Reba McEntire, is breaking her silence on his passing, sharing these touching personal photos, saying there's no one else like him.
Complete with a chef's kitchen, greenhouse, barn, heated workshop, and enough space for large-scale rodeo events. This was more than a personal retreat. It became the headquarters for Headwaters Livestock Auction and Valley View Rodeo, two ventures that solidified Brandon's pivot from the entertainment industry into full-on ranching and event management. Locals remember seeing Brandon at livestock sales, mingling at rodeo nights, and throwing himself into the day-to-day operations. And Brittney wasn't just along for the ride. She was involved in managing, organizing, and expanding these businesses. Their work gave them a different kind of notoriety, not the celebrity kind, but the kind that comes from being woven into a tight-knit rural community. People knew them as partners, but there was no splashy rollout of their relationship. No public statements, no exclusive soft launch in glossy magazines. It was a deliberate decision to keep things off the radar. That silence is what makes the obituary mention so striking now. For years, the public conversation around Brandon's personal life was frozen at the point of his divorce from Kelly Clarkson. Most assumed that chapter had simply ended with the legal settlement and that Brandon retreated quietly into ranch life alone. In reality, there was a whole second act unfolding. Brittney's move to Montana wasn't temporary. It was the start of a committed, intertwined life with Brandon, lasting right up to his final days. And yet the fact that this remained almost entirely invisible to the broader public speaks volumes about how they chose to live it. But if you think this was just a low-key romance, the next detail will prove it was far deeper. Because when her father spoke out, he didn't just confirm the relationship, he called Brandon something no one else had dared to say out loud until now. It was a single post, but it sent shockwaves through anyone who had followed the Clarkson-Blackstock story over the last few years.
We first learned of her unique connection to Brandon when Kelly told us in 2012.
His dad's my manager, and like his stepmom's Reba, so.
And through the years, Reba's talked about their special country bond.
Shortly after Brandon Blackstock's passing on August 7th, 2025, Brittney Marie Jones's father shared a public tribute. In it, he didn't just refer to Brandon as a close friend or business partner, he called him his daughter's soulmate. He went further, describing Brandon as like a son to him, praising the love and loyalty he had shown to Brittney during their years together. That one word, soulmate, instantly reframed the narrative. For years, most people assumed Brandon's life after the divorce was quiet, solitary, and defined mostly by his ongoing legal and financial disputes with Kelly Clarkson. But here was undeniable confirmation that he had found a deeply personal and committed relationship in the years after the split, with someone from Kelly's own inner circle. The post didn't stay up for long. Screenshots started circulating almost immediately, and within hours, the original tribute had vanished from public view. Whether it was deleted to protect privacy or to avoid fueling speculation, the timing only added to the intrigue. Suddenly, this wasn't just a story about Brandon's private life. It was about the fact that such a significant chapter had remained hidden in plain sight. And the more people looked back, the more it all lined up. Brittney's move to Montana in June 2020, the joint business ventures, their shared presence at rodeo events, their co-ownership of a multi-million-dollar estate. Even local community members had reportedly assumed they were a couple long before the obituary confirmed it. For Brittney's father, the tribute was clearly meant as a gesture of love and respect in a moment of grief. But for the outside world, it was also the first direct acknowledgement of a relationship that had been quietly evolving for years.
Kelly and I have gotten to tour together. We've done television shows together. We're family now.
After Kelly filed for divorce in 2020, Reba told us,
I hope they're happy and healthy and pull through this. I pray that everybody gives them the encouragement that they can, because they need it right now.
And now with Brandon gone, it stands as a public record of the bond they shared, a bond strong enough to be called soulmates. But as heartfelt as this revelation was, it also raised a new question. How did Kelly Clarkson handle learning and living with this truth during Brandon's final years? For Kelly Clarkson, the public saw only fragments of what was really happening behind the scenes. Her career was thriving on paper. The Kelly Clarkson Show was still pulling in strong ratings. Her Las Vegas residency had been a major draw, and her music was consistently connecting with fans. But those successes masked an entirely different reality. Kelly was living through one of the most complicated personal chapters of her life. In March 2025, she missed 10 episodes of her daytime show, a huge gap for a star with a multi-million-dollar NBC contract. Officially, it was described as personal time, but sources later revealed she had been spending those days in Montana, making sure her two children, River, 11, and Remington, 9, had time with their father as his health declined. It was an act that, for most people, would be unthinkably hard, supporting your kid's relationship with an ex-spouse you had fought in court for years, all while knowing he was building a life with someone who had once been your own assistant. In August this month, the situation reached its emotional peak. Kelly announced on Instagram that she was canceling the remainder of her August Vegas shows, explaining simply that she needed to be fully present for her children. She didn't mention Brandon by name. She didn't offer details about his health. She didn't address the speculation swirling online about his private life. Then, less than 24 hours later, Brandon passed away peacefully at his Montana ranch, surrounded by family, Brittney included. Kelly made no public statement beyond what she had already shared. No press interviews, no lengthy Instagram posts, no staged moments for the cameras. It was an intentional choice, keeping the focus on her children's grief, rather than feeding the headlines. This restraint spoke volumes.
Both of them do. I love them both with all my heart.
Now she's pouring out her heart on Instagram, saying his struggle is over and he is in eternal peace in God's presence. Happy trails to you till we meet again.
In an era where every personal event can be spun into viral content, Kelly chose dignity over spectacle. She protected her kids from the noise, even when it meant staying silent in the face of rumors and uncomfortable truths. But while her public stance stayed calm, the reaction from the wider entertainment world, and some unexpected voices, was about to bring this story back into the spotlight. In the days after Brandon Blackstock's passing, the conversation began to widen beyond just Kelly Clarkson, Brittney Marie Jones, and the quiet life in Montana. Two voices in particular drew national attention: Reba McEntire and Dolly Parton. Reba's connection to Brandon went far beyond industry ties. She had been his stepmother during her marriage to Narvel Blackstock, and their blended family history meant she had known Brandon for decades. When the news broke, Reba described him as "my cowboy," a term that resonated deeply with those who knew about his passion for ranch life. Her message wasn't just about loss, it was about identity, about the man he had become in Montana after leaving the fast-paced world of music management. She shared memories of family gatherings, late-night swapping stories, and the pride he took in his work on the ranch. Then came Dolly Parton, speaking from a place of empathy that only she could offer. Dolly had suffered her own devastating loss earlier in the year when her husband, Carl Dean, passed away in March 2025. In interviews, she extended her heartfelt condolences to both Kelly Clarkson and Reba McEntire, urging them to hold on to the energy and love that never leaves, even when someone's gone. Her words framed grief not just as pain, but as a kind of inheritance, something you carry forward. These tributes reframe the narrative in an important way, They pulled the focus away from the legal disputes and speculation about timing and reminded the public that this was, above all, a human loss. Brandon wasn't just a headline figure in a celebrity divorce. He was a father, a partner, and part of a long-standing family network in both the entertainment and ranching worlds. And yet, the combination of public grief and private revelations only deepened the intrigue.
Coincidentally, is the same year Clarkson filed for divorce from Blackstock. As a result of their settlement, Clarkson kept their Montana ranch, but lived in New York City with their 2 children. Blackstock continued to live in Montana, where he went on to establish his Valley View Rodeo with Jones.
Because while the entertainment industry mourned, the quieter question remained: how did this unconventional final chapter between Brandon, Brittney, and Kelly reshape the legacies of everyone involved? That answer would come not from public statements, but from the way each of them is remembered in the months and years to follow. When the dust settles and the headlines move on, what remains are the pieces that don't fade, the choices people made when no one was watching. Brandon Blackstock's final years tell a story that's both unconventional and deeply human. On one side, you have the public record: a bitter divorce from Kelly Clarkson, multi-million-dollar legal battles, property disputes, and endless speculation about motives and timing. On the other, you have the reality that unfolded far from the cameras: a committed life with Brittney Marie Jones, the former assistant who became his partner in both love and business. The fact that this relationship stayed so private until the very end is telling. It suggests a conscious decision to step away from the spectacle, to focus on building something tangible: a ranch, a business, a home. And when Brandon's obituary used that single loaded word, soulmate, it broke through years of silence in a way no press release ever could. For Kelly Clarkson, this chapter may always be remembered as a test of grace under pressure. She could have distanced herself entirely, but instead, she ensured her children spent time with their father in his final months. She canceled shows, walked away from lucrative commitments, and said almost nothing publicly, allowing her kids to process their loss without the noise of public debate. And then there's the circle of friends and family: Reba McEntire, Dolly Parton, and countless others, who framed Brandon's passing not through controversy, but through the lens of love, legacy, and connection. Their tributes were a reminder that in the end, it's the relationships you nurture, not the fights you win, that define you. Maybe that's the quiet truth of this whole story. Behind the legal headlines and viral gossip was a man who, in his last years, built the life he wanted with the person he chose. It wasn't for public approval, and it wasn't for show. It was for the small circle of people who knew him best, and for the family he leaves behind to carry that story forward.